This is not a coincidence. You hear this message because you were led to it. There is a reason your spiritual attacks have increased recently. There is a reason your sleep has been restless, and your heart has known a loneliness that sounds like a warning. You feel drained and exhausted, not because your body is weak. Something is shifting around you. Your enemies fear you, and you do not yet know why. You know the signs better than I do. You have learned to name small betrayals as if they were bruises on a familiar map. The hand that pretended to help and then broke trust. The friend who smiled and then conspired at your expense. The opportunities that closed suddenly without explanation. You find yourself stepping back from crowded rooms and wondering why the noise feels sharper now. You wake with a heaviness in your chest and with the sense that someone has been watching your life, testing it, cataloging the places where you still shine. Perhaps you dismiss it as paranoia. Perhaps you have been told you are oversensitive. Yet the truth is quieter and far more precise. You are responding to a pressure that has been present for a long time. The pattern is not random. There is a narrative woven into those sleepless nights. It is a story of being observed, not because you attract trouble, but because you carry a light others cannot bear to see. Think of the child you once were, one who asked different questions, who did not find the same satisfactions in the easy comforts other children chased. You noticed things before others did. You felt the undercurrents of a room, the shifting loyalties, the truth hidden behind polite words. That sensitivity isolated you. People called you strange. Teachers misread your silence. Family labeled you difficult. You learned to guard your heart, while the world misunderstood your presence. That guardedness came at a cost. You were targeted, subtly at first, then more insistently. Small sabotages, dismissed as coincidences, accumulated like weights. You lost jobs you thought secure. Relationships that promised support crumbled in ways that felt inexplicable. Money that should have been there vanished. Doors that once opened remained stubbornly shut. The blows were never dramatic enough to force help, but they were persistent enough to erode your certainty. You asked, often in the quiet of your own room, whether you had done something to deserve this. The quieter answer was that you had not. Rather, you were being prepared. Do not mistake this for punishment. The pressure around you has shape and intention. Envy moves like a shadow through crowded places. Insecurity wears a smile and carries gossip. Jealousy finds small shafts of your life it can bend or break. There are people who will betray you not because they are particularly cruel, but because your presence reveals the places they refuse to look. There are spiritual currents, subtle, patient attempts to siphon your energy, to convince you that you are tired because you are failing. You have been asked to bear more than the ordinary because your capacity for endurance is greater than most. That is the paradox of your life. You were given heavier burdens not because you deserved suffering, but because you were being forged for a purpose that requires strength you do not yet fully recognize. Remember moments that felt like tests, an appointment canceled without reason, a sudden illness at a crucial hour, a promise that dissolved when you needed it most. These were not merely bad luck. They were the friction that polished something within you. You learned endurance. You learned to move forward even when the applause did not come and when recognition was withheld. You learned to hold tenderness even after it was met with cruelty. You learned to keep your heart open when secrecy and slander surrounded you. Those lessons have value. They are the marrow of your resilience. There is a dignity that grows in the soul that has been betrayed and refuses to become bitter. That dignity is not loud. It does not shout its endurance. It is a low, steady knowing that you were not created for petty contests, but for a wider field. You have habits of compassion that surprise even you, an impulse to protect, to forgive, to keep believing in goodness when all evidence suggested otherwise. Those impulses are not naive. They are signs that something in you is anchored to a higher design. You were different from the start. and the difference has drawn both light and darkness toward you. You are not collapsing under this pressure. You are being reconfigured. There is a recalibration happening beneath the visible pain, a thinning of what is false, a separation of what is helpful from what is harmful, and a rearrangement of priorities that once seemed permanent. Where you once sought approval, you now seek alignment with something truer. Where you once feared loss, you now begin to recognize the pattern of necessary endings. These are not endings that signify failure. They are pruning by which the vine grows stronger and bears more fruit. I want you to feel the weight of this. God has seen every small wound, every quiet tear. Nothing in the dark escapes the eye of heaven. The things done to you in secret, the whispered betrayals, the choices that robbed you of sleep, none are hidden from the one who measures the heart. There is a justice that is not loud like worldly revenge. It is precise. It is the gentle but inexorable movement of truth toward exposure. What has been taken will be accounted for. The timing belongs to a wisdom you have not yet learned to read, but the principle is unshakable. Heaven notices the small things as much as the grand. And there is another reality you must accept. Your opposition exists because you are rising. They do not oppose you because you are small. They oppose you because you are a threat to the complacency that keeps them safe. When you walk quietly into a room, you wake an old discomfort. When you speak a clear truth, you unsettle arrangements that once held. Their fear is a testimony to your influence. They sense an energy shifting, sometimes before you even feel it yourself. That is why their tactics have grown more focused. The quieter you become, the more frantic they may appear. That panic reveals what is to come. This message is not meant to comfort only. It is meant to awaken. It is meant to move something inside you that says, finally, I was never meant to be small. The silence you have felt is not abandonment. It is strategy. The withdrawal of external favor has been a stage where your inner life could be intensified, where your discernment could be sharpened, where your faith could become more than a wish. And what terrifies your enemies most, what will make them scramble when the time comes, is not the force you might imagine, but the quiet, irrepressible way you will reclaim what was taken. You will not return as you were. You will return formed, precise, and appointed. There is a truth about to break over your life, and when it does, you will understand the pattern of every small trial. But this is only the beginning of what your soul needs to hear. When you look back at all those small betrayals and quiet collapses, a new realization settles in. You have been living in a battle you did not fully understand. It did not announce itself with banners or obvious battles. It came like weather, slow pressure, a sky that darkened 1 degree at a time until you barely recognized the day. You thought it was merely bad luck or a season that would pass. But seasons have shapes. What you have experienced is not random wear, it is warfare with purpose, and you have been put on the front line long before you knew why. The warfare begins inside. There are nights you carried conversations in your head that never ended, rehearsed apologies to people who had already hurt you, and climbed through a fog of doubt that felt like walking in an old house after every light has been turned off. There is an inner exhaustion that is not merely physical. It is a depletion of spirit, the slow leaking of confidence, the tiny betrayals of hope that accumulate until you wake and cannot find the thread you used to hold. You know the ache of wanting to surrender, but not being able to because some small, stubborn voice keeps you upright. Those internal battles are not signs of weakness. They are proof that you are being formed. Pain-wise, you have learned to endure in a way that refines rather than destroys. You remember the nights when your thoughts were loud, when questions circled like birds refusing to land. You asked why the very things that should have supported you turned cold. You felt an unseen hand touching every good intention in your life, redirecting it, bending it, testing it. Perhaps you blamed your decisions. Perhaps you blamed timing. But the truth is, the struggle was meant to excavate something inside you: resilience, clarity, an uncommon steadiness. You have known the emptiness of not being understood, and in that solitude you developed a kind of listening that the ordinary never acquires. You learned to hear what others could not, to feel what others ignored, to hold an interior discipline that now quietly works for you. Outside, the battles are just as real and more deceptive. They arrive in human shapes. Those who smiled with you then withdrew when your need required courage. Those who spoke words of encouragement and then withheld the small, decisive acts that would have made a difference. There are relationships that looked like safety, but were scaffolding built on sand. Opportunities evaporated in a single conversation. Promotions were rerouted. Plans that seemed certain dissolved without cause. You were brushed aside by the polite violence of envy, by people who saw your potential and acted preemptively to weaken it. Their moves were not always dramatic. They were surgical. They attacked what you valued most, because that is where they could hurt you most effectively. This is not to make you cynical. It is to calibrate your perception. When you trace back through the pattern, you see that the attacks had a logic. They were targeted at what made you most luminous: your compassion, your integrity, your refusal to play small. People who live by convenience become defensive when someone else's soul refuses convenience. They do not understand depth, and depth, by its nature, unsettles the shallow. You have been perceived as a mirror that reflects what others pretend not to see. That mirror causes discomfort, and discomfort breeds protection mechanisms that take the form of small cruelties. Why you? Because light has consequences. When you carry a frequency that is higher than the immediate environment, it draws attention. Not all attention is friendly. Those who have invested in a lower frequency feel threatened by a presence that exposes their compromises. In the spiritual economy, strong souls are tested. Your sensitivity, which made you seem fragile to some, is in truth an instrument of power. Whoever has tried to bend you did so not because you were easy to break, but because they feared the truth you would make visible. Their attacks are an indirect admission of your capacity to alter the field around you. And yet, despite the blows, you have not fallen. That is the remarkable thing most do not notice. You have stood through things that would have ended others. You have continued to trust when trust seemed imprudent. You kept offering your best even when it was not returned in kind. That endurance is not random suffering. It is proof of an unseen strength, an ability to remain intact under pressure. You have a reserve of courage that could not be manufactured by comfort. It was grown in the soil of hardship and watered by the tears you thought were private. There is a power in surviving what should have undone you. It moves silently. It does not boast. It is the stillness of a tree in winter that keeps its root system alive for the spring. You have been quietly rooted, gathering strength without spectacle. And that quiet accumulation is dangerous to those who cannot bear to be exposed. They sense it. Even in their sleep, they feel the shift. They do not only respond to what you have done, they respond to what you are becoming. Their agitation grows as your season of maturation deepens. The panic in others is the echo of your approaching movement. Do not miss this. God has seen every private massacre of your dignity. The small humiliations, the withheld favors, the sideways conversations that stole your place. He has registered them. He is not surprised by the strategy of those who oppose you because he sees the heart. There is a divine accounting at work that is more subtle than simple retaliation. It is a configuration of circumstances that will rearrange favor, open doors, and bring forth voices that once were silent. The justice that comes is not merely punitive. It is restorative. It returns what was taken with an added measure of clarity, so that when restoration arrives, you will not only receive what was lost, you will see why it was delayed and how it taught you to steward what you will now possess. You began to learn discernment along the way. Pain taught you to read motives. Betrayal taught you to notice whose hands are steady when storms come. Loss taught you what matters and what is expendable. Those painful lessons are not accidental. They are the curriculum of a mature soul. You are being instructed in a way that the comfortable never are, and as that instruction settles, something else shifts: your posture. You begin to move not from hope alone, but from a cultivated wisdom. Your steps become more measured. Your voice gains weight not from volume, but from truth. The world starts responding differently because you have been altered at the source. When you feel your chest tighten and the old fears creep back, remember where you have come from. Remember the small, persistent victories, the days you resisted bitterness, the times you protected someone else despite your own hurt, the moments you chose integrity over ease. Those are not small at all. They are the currency with which your restoration will be paid. And when you begin to see the pattern, a deeper question arises within you, one that will not be answered by surface consolation. It asks for a new kind of courage, one that is willing to step into the light even when the glare exposes old wounds. That courage is already growing in you. It has been growing in the night. And when you finally stand, it will be evident to even those who once opposed you. But this is only the surface of what your soul needs. There is something deeper your soul needs to know, something that will change the very logic of how you see your life. When you begin to understand that, everything rearranges. And when that deeper truth begins to rise inside you, it arrives with a clarity that feels almost unsettling. Divine justice is moving toward you, and nothing can obstruct it. It does not come with noise, nor does it announce itself through dramatic signs. It comes the way dawn comes, quietly, inevitably, pushing back the dark because the dark was never strong enough to resist light. You are stepping into a moment when what was hidden will not remain hidden. Words spoken behind your back, actions taken in secrecy, plans formed to undermine you, they are beginning to unravel. It is not because you demanded vengeance. It is because heaven refuses to let truth remain buried when a chosen soul is involved. You are entering a season where misperceptions collapse, lies expose themselves, and the dignity that was stripped from you returns in ways that silence the tongues that once tried to diminish you. This is not punishment for anyone. It is alignment. It is the world shifting back into a shape that reflects the truth of who you are. You have carried burdens that were not yours, paid emotionally for errors that were never committed by you, and absorbed projections from people who were afraid to confront their own shadows. Now the atmosphere is changing. You can feel it, not as excitement, but as a strange calm, a sense that something heavy is lifting. You may not understand why this calm comes after so much chaos, but it is because a turning point is preparing itself. The scales that once tilted unfairly are beginning to correct. The delay was strategic. The reversal is inevitable. For so long, you interpreted your delays as failures. You wondered why doors refused to open when you had done everything right. You questioned why people with lesser integrity moved ahead while you remained in the shadows, waiting for your moment. But delays in the life of a chosen one are not punishments. They are chambers of preparation. You were not held back to be denied. You were held back to be sharpened. Heaven does not elevate a soul too early. Early elevation can destroy a person who has not yet learned the truth of the people around them. If you had risen earlier, you would have trusted the wrong voices, leaned on the wrong shoulders, shared sacred things with unworthy hands. What you called stagnation was training. What you called suffering was refinement. Every wound was a tutor, every disappointment a quiet mentor. Think of the times you were pushed down, not gently, violently, unexpectedly, from the angles least anticipated. Those pushes were not merely acts of malice, they were revelations. When heaven allows someone to hurt you, heaven is allowing their heart to reveal itself. The moment someone chooses betrayal, they unveil a truth you would not have seen otherwise. And once that truth is known, heaven removes them from your future. You have not lost anything meant for your destiny. You have only lost what would have corrupted it. People who left you did not exit your life. They were released. They were not capable of standing where heaven intends to place you. All of this points toward a reversal that is already unfolding. You who were placed last will come forward in ways that astonish those who have underestimated you. You who were silenced will be heard, not because you shout, but because everything around you aligns to amplify your voice. You who were overlooked will become impossible to ignore. The stone that builders rejected becomes the cornerstone. This is not a poetic metaphor, but a spiritual law. You were not meant to blend in. You were meant to rise, slowly and unmistakably, until your presence becomes a testimony of what resilience, grace, and divine timing can produce. And as this reversal begins, something else awakens. The deep healing that comes when the soul finally understands its own journey. You were not abandoned. You were not forgotten. The moments you felt forsaken were not evidence of divine absence, but divine proximity. You were held in ways you could not perceive. Your tears were not wasted. They irrigated the soil of your transformation. You have walked through pain that others cannot imagine, and you kept your heart soft when it would have been easier to harden. That softness is not fragility, it is sacredness. You are not weak. You are so strong that heaven entrusted you with trials that would have broken ordinary people. Your wounds are not stains. They are marks of selection, proofs of endurance. Healing begins when truth returns to its rightful place. You did not invent your suffering. It was real and it shaped you. But now the shaping gives way to ascending. You are being lifted, not by human hands, but by something older and higher. You are stepping into a season where victories will not require struggle. They will come as recognition of what you have already survived. The forces that once resisted you will lose their power. The obstacles that once blocked you will collapse without your effort. You will walk into opportunities that feel strangely familiar, as if they were waiting for you all along. They were. There is a rising inside you that cannot be stopped. The world will not recognize it immediately, but spiritual forces do. That is why the atmosphere around you has been shifting. That is why tension has increased. Darkness senses when light begins to gather itself for ascent. And the more you stand in your quiet power, the more they tremble. Not because of what you have done, but because of what you are becoming. You are not rising alone. Heaven is lifting you, and no force can oppose a rising ordered by the divine. But this message does not end with triumph alone. There is an echo calling your soul to awaken its next step. If your heart stirs as you hear these words, it is not the voice of a stranger. It is the voice of your own season calling you forward. If something inside you feels confirmed, know that it is not coincidence. It is alignment. Walk on. You are being guided, and the path ahead is opening in ways you could not have predicted. And there is something even deeper. Your soul is now ready to understand. Something that will illuminate not just your battles, but your mission itself. And when that deeper truth begins to rise inside you, it arrives with a clarity that feels almost unsettling. Divine justice is moving toward you, and nothing can obstruct it. It does not come with noise, nor does it announce itself through dramatic signs. It comes the way dawn comes, quietly, inevitably pushing back the dark, because the dark was never strong enough to resist light. You are stepping into a moment when what was hidden will not remain hidden. Words spoken behind your back, actions taken in secrecy, plans formed to undermine you, they are beginning to unravel. It is not because you demanded vengeance. It is because heaven refuses to let truth remain buried when a chosen soul is involved. You are entering a season where misperceptions collapse, Lies expose themselves, and the dignity that was stripped from you returns in ways that silence the tongues that once tried to diminish you. This is not punishment for anyone. It is alignment. It is the world shifting back into a shape that reflects the truth of who you are. You have carried burdens that were not yours, paid emotionally for errors that were never committed by you, and absorbed projections from people who were afraid to confront their own shadows. Now the atmosphere is changing. You can feel it, not as excitement, but as a strange calm, a sense that something heavy is lifting. You may not understand why this calm comes after so much chaos, but it is because a turning point is preparing itself. The scales that once tilted unfairly are beginning to correct. The delay was strategic. The reversal is inevitable. For so long you interpreted your delays as failures. You wondered why doors refused to open when you had done everything right. You questioned why people with lesser integrity moved ahead while you remained in the shadows, waiting for your moment. But delays in the life of a chosen one are not punishments. They are chambers of preparation. You were not held back to be denied. You were held back to be sharpened. Heaven does not elevate a soul too early. Early elevation can destroy a person who has not yet learned the truth of the people around them. If you had risen earlier, you would have trusted the wrong voices, leaned on the wrong shoulders, shared sacred things with unworthy hands. What you called stagnation was training. What you called suffering was refinement. Every wound was a tutor, every disappointment a quiet mentor. Think of the times you were pushed down, not gently, violently, unexpectedly, from the angles least anticipated. Those pushes were not merely acts of malice, they were revelations. When heaven allows someone to hurt you, heaven is allowing their heart to reveal itself. The moment someone chooses betrayal, they unveil a truth you would not have seen otherwise. And once that truth is known, heaven removes them from your future. You have not lost anything meant for your destiny. You have only lost what would have corrupted it. People who left you did not exit your life. They were released. They were not capable of standing where heaven intends to place you. All of this points toward a reversal that is already unfolding. You who were placed last will come forward in ways that astonish those who have underestimated you. You who were silenced will be heard, not because you shout, but because everything around you aligns to amplify your voice. You who were overlooked will become impossible to ignore. The stone that builders rejected becomes the cornerstone. This is not a poetic metaphor, but a spiritual law. You were not meant to blend in. You were meant to rise, slowly and unmistakably, until your presence becomes a testimony of what resilience, grace, and divine timing can produce. And as this reversal begins, something else awakens. The deep healing that comes when the soul finally understands its own journey. You were not abandoned. You were not forgotten. The moments you felt forsaken were not evidence of divine absence, but divine proximity. You were held in ways you could not perceive. Your tears were not wasted. They irrigated the soil of your transformation. You have walked through pain that others cannot imagine, and you kept your heart soft when it would have been easier to harden. That softness is not fragility. It is sacredness. You are not weak. You are so strong that heaven entrusted you with trials that would have broken ordinary people. Your wounds are not stains. They are marks of selection, proofs of endurance. Healing begins when truth returns to its rightful place. You did not invent your suffering. It was real, and it shaped you. But now the shaping gives way to ascending. You are being lifted, not by human hands, but by something older and higher. You are stepping into a season where victories will not require struggle. They will come as recognition of what you have already survived. The forces that once resisted you will lose their power. The obstacles that once blocked you will collapse without your effort. You will walk into opportunities that feel strangely familiar, as if they were waiting for you all along. They were. There is a rising inside you that cannot be stopped. The world will not recognize it immediately, but spiritual forces do. That is why the atmosphere around you has been shifting. That is why tension has increased. Darkness senses when light begins to gather itself for ascent. And the more you stand in your quiet power, the more they tremble. Not because of what you have done, but because of what you are becoming. You are not rising alone. Heaven is lifting you. And no force can oppose a rising ordered by the divine. But this message does not end with triumph alone. There is an echo calling your soul to awaken its next step. If your heart stirs as you hear these words, it is not the voice of a stranger. It is the voice of your own season calling you forward. If something inside you feels confirmed, know that it is not coincidence. It is alignment. Walk on. You are being guided, and the path ahead is opening in ways you could not have predicted. And there is something even deeper your soul is now ready to understand. Something that will illuminate not just your battles, but your mission itself. You feel it now more clearly than ever. You are truly the chosen one. Not because of pride, not because of ego, not because someone told you so, but because everything in your life confirms it. The strange loneliness that followed you, the intuition that sharpened without being taught, the battles that pressed against you from childhood, the resilience that kept you standing when you had every reason to collapse. All of it has been evidence of a calling that was placed on you long before you understood its weight. You are not on the wrong path. You were led here. Every sign, every shift, every inner stirring has been heaven positioning you closer to the truth of who you are. Your soul has awakened, and it cannot return to sleep. Once chosen, always chosen. And now, without even forcing it, you stand on the edge of a new movement in your life. Something is opening, something is loosening, something is drawing near that once felt impossibly far away. The battles have softened your heart, not hardened it. The setbacks have aligned you, not scattered you. What you thought was delay was protection. What you thought was rejection was direction. What you thought was God's silence was actually the calibration of your steps, so that when the right doors opened, they would not just be moments of chance, they would be moments of destiny. You are approaching a season where things begin to meet you halfway, where opportunities recognize your name before you speak it, where the path refuses to remain closed simply because it was closed before. Do not be surprised when certain people begin to fade from your life without conflict. Their exit is not abandonment, it is divine pruning. Those who were never meant to journey into your rising will simply lose access. Conversations will dry up. Their energy will no longer resonate. The path will separate naturally because your frequency has shifted, and do not fear the emptiness this creates. In that emptiness, heaven places alignment. Real people will find you, people who carry truth instead of flattery, loyalty instead of convenience, depth instead of performance. You will meet those who recognize your spirit, who speak your language, who value your presence instead of exploiting it. These connections are not random. They are divine appointments. And as you move into this new season, the justice you have waited for will not be abstract. It will take shape in the tangible parts of your life. Stability will return where chaos once lived. Provision will flow in places that were previously barren. Opportunities that disappeared will reappear with better timing. What once opposed you will shift inexplicably to support you. The imbalance that has followed you for years is correcting itself. Fairness is drawing nearer than you think, and when it arrives, it will not feel like revenge. It will feel like restoration, the quiet, holy kind of restoration that does not announce itself but becomes undeniable. But before anything else comes, you need assurance, real peace, not the temporary kind that lasts a day, but the kind that settles your spirit and becomes the ground you stand on. So hear this with your whole being. Do not fear the future. The path ahead is not empty. You are not walking alone. The silence you sometimes feel is not abandonment. It is the stillness in which your guidance takes shape. The next chapter of your life is not designed to repeat the wounds of the past. You are not condemned to cycles. Your patterns have been broken. You are moving differently because you are different. And the changes that are coming are not here to harm you. They are here to align you with what your soul has been ready for all along. Your past wounds do not define you. They prepared you. They taught you discernment. They gave you strength without cruelty, compassion without naivety, wisdom without bitterness. You have been carried through storms you never told anyone about. And now you will be carried into blessings you once believed were out of reach. You are protected from places eyes cannot see. You are guided by forces that do not sleep. You are watched over with an attention that never wavers. And even when you felt far from God, God was never far from you. What felt like distance was actually strategy, the preparation for the moment when your spirit could recognize truth from illusion, purpose from distraction, destiny from convenience. So as you stand here in this moment, let your soul respond, not by force, not by ritual, simply by recognition. If your spirit feels the truth of this message, hold it in your heart. Let it settle. Let it confirm what you already sensed but could not articulate. You do not need to rush. You do not need to prove anything. You do not need to chase signs. They are already appearing around you. You simply need to stay aligned with what your soul knows is right. Everything in your life is orchestrating itself toward clarity, toward purpose, toward rising. If this message touched something inside you, let that be your confirmation, not from a voice outside yourself, but from the deep knowing within you. If you feel connected to this journey, continue walking with it. Stay present with your awakening. Trust the guidance whispering through your intuition. You will know the next step, not because someone instructs you, but because revelation blooms in your spirit exactly when you need it. And before this moment closes, take this with you gently. Keep your light. The world needs it more than you realize. Walk forward with confidence because heaven walks with you. Do not shrink back into the shadows you outgrew. You belong in the light. You have always belonged in the light. And as you move, remember this truth as the final echo in your heart. You are the chosen one, and that will never change.